Hi, I believe it's time to introduce myself. I'm Sebastian and I'm a founder of Maperivo.com, the software that I built recently to help others with their workflow. So everyone that makes and selling maps on Etsy or on the Shopify store or on Facebook and social medias was going back and forth with the projects to their customers, and that what I was doing as well. I had the problem that I had to go back and forth with the project that my customer would like to have, and he was like, "Oh, can you move it a little bit to the right, or a little bit to the top, or zoom it in, or zoom it out, or add a pin on this street, not on this street, etc., etc." So what I've done, I've created the designer that basically you can put in your store, like Shopify store, or you can give a link to your designer, to your customer on Etsy, so he can create the map himself, and all you get is just a code at the end, and then you use this code to export the file, and you have files ready within like 2 minutes, like that. Everything is ready. All you need to do is just to cut it, glue it, and then ship it to your customer. So this was my main reason. But then I realized there was a lot of features that I was missing. I had to add some pinpoints to my customer, so I had to do it in Lightburn separately. That was taking me time, or labels, or the streets were too thick or too thin, so they were breaking. So I have fixed that issue as well. I also do forests engraved or parks engraved. So when I was getting from other tool data like SVG file, there was a double line, so I couldn't engrave it. I had to cut every single line for every park. That was taking me like a half an hour or up to an hour. So I fixed that also. So after I created this designer for my website only, I've realized that this might help to a lot of people, to a lot of creators, to a lot of sellers on Etsy or on Shopify. And so I was like, oh, let's spread it around, and that's how Maperivo started basically. Now you can jump into to the website, to maperivo.com. You can register for 14 days trial, 50 credits available, and then you can try it yourself. If you think it's worth it, then just use it. We're gonna have a pro version where you will be able to put your the pro version you will be able to put into your website, or you'll be able to give the link to the designer for your customers. I have predefined styles as well for ready products, as well as a studio where you can create your product yourself, basically from the beginning, with different shapes, with the shapes like the city boundaries or state boundaries, or also a country boundary. Yeah, so if you would like to have a city but in the shape of, let's say, Poland, I'm from Poland, you can make it in that shape, or the state, let's say Washington, or Washington DC city as itself, you can make it in this shape as well. So we have topography, bathymetry of ocean, and then some lakes as well. Not full data of lakes. I think we got for the moment 6 states with the lakes available, like Minnesota, Ohio, I don't remember now. I got it back on my head, but yeah, so let's dive into the software, and I'll show you how to walk around and how to build your map. It basically takes 2 minutes to make the map from scratch, or it takes 5 to 10 seconds actually to get the code from your customer to put into your xTool or Lightburn files. Ready to cut, ready to engrave. So let's dive in. Okay, so we on Maperivo client panel. Basically, what you can do here is you can change the laser colors. So you can predefine your colors that you're using for cut, for engrave, and for the score. That will be helpful at the end when you get your SVG files. Of course, you can see your credits and you can see your plan. I've got free trial, so 14 days free with 50 credits included, and after you can get C plans. Anyways, we're gonna go to our designer, so I'm gonna show you how to quickly make the map. We're gonna use our studio. Later on, I'm gonna explain how other styles works. Like we got 3D maps, we got like 3D layers, we got cutout, basically it's just a single cutout map. We got love story, so you have 3 different maps and you can change that to 2 hearts, single heart, 4 hearts if you have big enough canvas. So we have memory poster, we have key holders. Of course, you can have like a hooks in below that. Then we have tiles. They are very high quality, so very dense maps, comes out very high quality, so you can see every single street. And that's 3D, so you have 3 layers. We have engraved, so just a single layer engraved and just a single cutout. So studio is the place where you have the most available features. We have 2 types of workflow, so you can go like this. That's a simple one. So you choose the product, you choose the location and the shape, etc. Topography, ocean depth, zoom, the route with XPG files, GPX files. Sorry. Then we have our line thickness. Then we have extras where you can put your engraving and stuff, and then we got summary, and then also we got a studio, which is everything is in one menu on the left. But for this purpose, we're gonna go with the simple mode. Of course, you got 3 languages here. I'm from Poland, so we have Polish and we got German, and there is English. You can go back to your client panel or by pressing the logo. On the right hand side, you can change it to light, dim or dark. Let's drop it, put it in the light mode. You can copy the code, you can get a code, and I'll explain about the code later on. And then of course you can save your project before exporting. So let's go to product. So we've chose studio. We're gonna create our map with let's say Seattle in Washington state. Okay, so there is another option, so we can choose the shape here. We got hard, etc, and then we have something new that there is not on the market yet. I haven't seen it on any other tool. Of course, you can choose the state, but you cannot choose any state in the world, and you cannot choose any city boundaries in the world. So if you type here Seattle as a city, and boom, you have a Seattle city border. You can lower the border in millimeters, so let's say to 5 millimeter border or 2 millimeter. And the size of it, the size will be always the longer one, 400. It's not gonna change anything here, it will change afterwards. So you have shorter and the longer one, yeah? Then what we have, so we can keep it as it is. Then of course we got preview. You can adjust the map by seeing a satellite view. Of course we can zoom it in. Then we have raw map, basically like Google Maps, to see how it looks like, where exactly you want to point it out. And then we have our 3D. So you can see how it's gonna be when you export it, how it's gonna look like. We can explode the view, we can change the colors. So the base will stay blue as it's water. Then we have engraved layer, can be brighter, and then we have streets. You can make it dark, you can make it black, whatever you like. Okay, then we can see each layer. So this is the land layer, and engraving here, it's a green area. I'll show you that in extras or in adjust. So that's a green area like parks, forests, you can choose that. So that will be engraved, and then you got train as a score, and then you got street layer with a cutout basically, and all the layers stack back together, and everything is in the shape of the Seattle city. So let's go back, let's start over. Oh, let's change the shape to just normal square. Of course, you can change to inches. I'm from Europe, so I operate in millimeters and centimeters. So let's leave it as it is. We have elevation layers. What is cool, when you take the elevation layer, the land layer, there will be a street layer leveled with the first one. So this will be cut out, and the rest will be engraved on each layer. Then we have depth layers. You can choose how many layers would you like. Of course, we have a zoom in, zoom out. We can lock that once you're ready, so you can lock the map so it's not moving. And you can upload here your GPX file. When you I have, I think, let's choose this one. That's from Warsaw in Poland. So there you go. We can change the thickness of it. Let's see, 3 millimeters. We can score along on the middle, or we can turn that off, and then in the 3D we should see separate layer included this track basically. There you go. So we have another layer here created with the track that will be cut out. Okay, I'm gonna remove that for now. Then we go to adjust the layers. So basically you have 3 styles: delicate, standard, and bold. I usually use delicate, and the thing is, what was my problem before with other tools? Every time I was making the streets, let's say like 3 points, I would then go back to my Lightburn on xTool Studio. I would change the size of the map, because it was a ratio. It wasn't like I couldn't choose what size I want before I was starting building the map. So now once you choose your size, and then you can see exactly how many millimeters each road will have. So you have how many pixel points and how many millimeters. My xTool P3 is capable of making the streets as thin as 0.8 millimeters. Below that, it will basically just break. Okay, so what I have done, I've placed here like so when you on the 0.8, it will show that it's fragile. Okay, but if you go below that, everything that is below 0.8 will be engraved. okay? And if it's gonna go below 0.5, it will be as a single line as a score. So if you want to just have engraved streets, you can put everything below that. Or if you want to have bold but engraved, then later on in export you'll be able to change it to engraved. So if we have engraved streets, which are so those gonna be engraved. If you go to 3D map now, you can see that the cutout street layer has only roads and highways, and the land layer will have those streets engraved. But if we go below 0.5, they all will become as a score, as a single line, as you can see. Okay, so let's go back to 1.2. I would choose it as a delicate, I don't know if it's correct spelling, but that's what I'm usually choosing. Of course, we go boundaries, state, regions, airports. And what's another new feature that I have just added a few days ago is that you can take the labels, so the roads, the streets, and the regions, how they called. You can take all that automatically, or you can just pick the streets. So just pick the streets, and let's say this one, Obrontsów, okay? Then another one, let's say you want this one, okay? Then you want this one, and you can choose those labels. Of course, you can change the size of each, change the size of all, and then rotate each one if you like. But not only that, if you think that this doesn't look correct place, then you can just move them wherever you like. And what's happening is when you put 3D, this usually takes a little bit. So you can see that this is all welded into the streets. Okay, of course, the quality here isn't great. It's just a preview. So once you export it, it will be much better. And as I said, there is also parks and green area. Yeah, you can choose parks. You can choose the types like forests and parks itself, and grass and meadows. Yeah, we can add those too. And what's most important, that when you export the file, it's not going to be like double lines around that, like a boundary, but it will be single lines, so it will be filled straight away. So let's leave it as it is, and then let's go to extras. So in extras, I got my frames here. So when your customer, you'll be able, if you're gonna be on the Pro, you'll be able to change this frame colors for your own. And of course, we can put at the bottom the name of the city changes. Let's say I like Laura. Then we can add coordinates. We can turn off the coordinates. We can choose size. We can outline it. So we can make a bolder outline or just little outline. Let's say like this. And then on 3D, you'll see it's welded to the bottom. Preview usually takes like a few seconds. See, it's welded here. Of course, we can change it also to, let's say, dancing script. There you go. Let's see, let's say with Laura. And then we have another two options. We can do another separate frame layer. So instead of being welded on the street level, street layer, it's gonna generate another layer like that on top of it. Okay. Then another one is a divider bar. So it will divide the streets here, and it's gonna be in between, as you can see. There you go. That's how it's gonna look like, yeah? So we keep it as it is. Or let's do separate. Sorry. Then we can add the pinpoint. So let's say your customer would like to add a pinpoint where he met with his partner. Let's say this is the street. Of course, we can zoom it in. We can when you move in, you can't move the map, so you have to place done, put done, and then zoom it in. Once you zoom in, you can put exactly where you want the, you can find the street and place this heart in, and you will stay there. You can move the map around and you can leave it as it, and it will stay there. Okay, and then we can upload the file like a logo, SVG file, logo. I haven't been testing it too much. I've tested in like 3 logos. It was working, and you can put like any file, like let's say you go compass or something that you can place on it, and then you'll be able to choose which layer would you like it to be. Okay, so you can add this, and you can add the label, any label. Let's say you want to put here first time met. Okay, you can change here the font. Let's say with Laura, outline. We can outline that, and of course make it a bit smaller. Place it under the heart, for example. And then you can add also, some customers like to have some dedication or that's just engraved at the back. So you can put back engraving, let's say okay, and then go back. You go to summary, and then all you can do is export the files. If your customer has your link, you go on the pro version. Basically, you can get the Etsy order code. He can get a code, copy the code, and paste to you in the message. And look, we're gonna start over. We're gonna start from the beginning. We're gonna go to studio mode, and we're gonna upload the file, the code, and boom, we have this. Back. Of course, we have to change it to the view, and you have it back. If you upload with the GPX file, it's not gonna work. So this person has to send you the GPX file separately. Okay. So then you just go to export. Okay, so we're exporting the files. It will export automatically, and that's when the credits is gonna be taken. Okay, and it's only gonna be taken now once. And here we have our design code. We have the project, what's on it. Okay, we've changed to Warsaw, but this is what it's gonna look like. We can change the frame margin from 15 millimeters to 10 millimeters, etc. We can change it to engraved. So once you got the files generated, that's your first file, and that's a street. And then we have a length file. Then we have our frame, the Warsaw at the bottom, and then the back engraving. Okay, so we have all the cutting files in the color that we have chose, and the street, and etc, etc. This is our heart and first time met. So all we do is just take the file, take this file, and take this file. If you change to engraved, We can generate again. Credits will stay. It's not going to take any of your credits anymore. And you get just one file with land. See? So all the streets, they will be engraved. So as you can see, they are closed. So they are closed, yeah? So all those will be engraved. Score line and the heart. I'm gonna fix that, but the heart should be also engraved. Or we can just cut it. But what's most important about that one? When you have water and then you have roads engraved, okay, those roads, when they can't be engraved on the water. So usually when you cut, you have to put the lines here to make like a bridge, but not here anymore, because when you take your streets off, you will see that there is a gap already made. You would have to move the label with the out away from the water. So the heart I've got in cut mode, basically because I fill it with the resin. Okay, so I'll change it. There will be possibility to have it just engraved as well, not cut out. Okay, so let's go to xTool. Okay, so we have dropped all the files here in xTool Studio or Lightburn. So we have one layer with cut roads, we have back engraving, so our base basically, and then we have engraved like a land layer, and then we have our frame. I made it fairly thin around, but of course we can change it to, let's say, 15 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 30 millimeters, whatever we like. And here we can see we have our engraved green area. So let's say blue, we're gonna place as an engraved. Road's gonna be cutted out. This will be scored. Red and black is cut. We're gonna change it to engraved, and they will be all scored. That's it. Perfect. And it's ready to go. Every single file is ready to go. So basically it takes like 2 minutes to make it. Once your customer design it, you will get a code, you export it, just take the file, download the files, place it, and just choose which one you engrave, which one you cut. That's it. That's all you need. Okay, take care. I'm gonna show you more in next videos.